To another live film, she was getting to it, man. Next 60 years ago this month on June 16th, Stokely Carmichael chanted Black Power at a rally in Broad Street Park in Greenwood, Mississippi. That was a game changer in what he talked about. His response to the Meredith March Against Fear. He came down to Mississippi because obviously Meredith was shot, unfortunately, and he came down there to chant that, do that Black Power speech, and that definitely changed the civil rights movement, because the civil rights movement at that time wasn't about Black Power, it was about freedom now, integration and stuff like that, equality and all that, you know. But now, here comes Stokely Carmichael saying this stuff. Mississippi, we want Black Power. That definitely shook up everything, challenged the civil rights movement. Definitely did when he said what he said on that night of June 16, 1966. That was a game changer. That Mississippi night. So that's why I wanted to do this video, because 60 years ago, this month, June 16 will be the 60th anniversary of that speech, the Black Power speech, said by Stokely Carmichael. And that was just a game changer for the civil rights movement. It challenged the civil rights movement, because it was trying to go in a different direction than just the status quo, freedom now, integration, stuff like that. You wanted to do your own thing, go in a different direction, different path, and rightly so. I mean, this was 2 years after the Civil Rights Act was passed and the Voting Rights Act was passed, but there's no major progress. So obviously, if there's no major progress, you gotta go in a different direction, go with another alternative, and that's what you got from Carmichael. He said what he said on that night, on June 16th, 1966. Him saying that definitely changed everything, because that was definitely a shocker at that time. And 60 years later, still shocking to this day. To go from freedom now to you want Black Power. And then Willie Ricks was part of this also. We gotta include Ricks in this. He wanted the crowd who was listening to Carmichael speak. Ricks was rehearsing this, what do we want? What we want? He called out, then he said, freedom now. Ricks said, I'm shouting Black Power. Ricks would repeat the question, and the crowds would take up the chant, Black Power. So this was already rehearsed, because Willie Ricks, he joined the Meredith March as well. So that's what it was about. So kind of start with him. Also got include him as giving credit as well. Because Jim Foreman, Stokely tried to get me thrown off the march for exaggerating. Ricks told Stick historian Claiborne Carson. So I lied, Jim Foreman took credit for encouraging Ricks to use a new slogan when he came with Atlanta on our way to Meredith March. Said, hey Jim, I got an idea. Suppose when I get over there to Mississippi, I'm speaking, I'm start hollering for Black Power. So you look at Willie Ricks, he kind of was the one that got started. It wasn't, the idea. So Carmichael, it was Willie Ricks' idea. He told Jim Foreman, hey, I got an idea. Suppose when I get over there to Mississippi, I'm speaking, I start hollering for Black Power. What do you think of that? Would you back me up? You think it will scare people in SNCC? Foreman claimed that he gave Ricks his blessing. Black Power, sure, try it. He played like, why not? Though you only be shortening the phrase, you're always using power for poor Black people. Black Power shorter. It means the same thing. Go on, try it. So by Rick's account, Carmichael became convinced once he accompanied Ricks to a church meeting early in the Meredith March and witnessed the effect of the new chant firsthand. By June 10th, 3 days into the march, the slogan was on Carmichael's mind when he returned to Atlanta to brief SNCC's Central Committee. Minutes of the meeting described Carmichael speaking of people relating to the concept of Black Power. So 6 days later, on June 16th, Carmichael was ready to take what Willie Ricks had started and push it in a dramatic step further. See, so it started with Willie Ricks. Willie Ricks got the Black Power's chant going. It started with him. That's Carmichael just put the finishing touches on it. So he going joined by Moses and John Hewlett. So Ricks had built a makeshift stage in Broad Street Park in Baptist Town. He surrounded a flatbed truck with generator power and floodlights. Created local black teams stand guard on the back of the truck. First before Kizzy addressed the crowd, then Ricks said a few words. But at this time, Ricks held himself back and waited for Carmichael to arrive. Finally, as darkness fell, Carmichael appeared. He wore a brown paisley shirt, and his chest and face were tan dark brown, after 2 weeks of walking in the Alabama sun. As Carmichael climbed onto the back of the truck, Ricks whispered into his ear, "Drop it now." Ricks said, "The people are ready. Drop it now." When Carmichael emerged from the line of black youth on the truck, it was as though he had stepped into the lights of Broadway. Gazing down at hundreds of moonlight faces looking up at him, he raised his right arm, clenched his hand into a fist. Then he clutched a small silver microphone, spoke in a voice filled with anger, not only at the infuriating events of the day, but at all the indignities he had suffered witnessing 5 years of working in the South. "This is the 27th time that I've been arrested," Carmichael shouted. "I ain't going to jail no more." The crowd cheered and clapped, and Carmichael repeated the line with even more urgency. "I'm going to jail no more," he cried. Another cheer rose up. "The only way we're going to stop them white men from whipping us is to take over," Carmichael continued. "We've been saying freedom now for 6 years, and we ain't got nothing. What we're going to start saying now is black power." "Black power," the crowd roared back. Next to Carmichael on the truck, Ricks waved his arms from side to side, like conductors uniting soloists orchestrating a thunderous concerto. 5 times, Carmichael repeated the refrain, stabbing the night air with his right index finger. And 5 times, a chorus of hundreds of voices answered from the field below him. "What we want, black power. We want black power," Carmichael shouted. "We want black power." "Black power," the crowd cried. "We want black power. Black power. We want black power. Black power. We want black power. Black power. We want black power. Black power." Then Carmichael rephrased the refrain as a question, and the answer came back even louder. "What do you want?" Carmichael asked. "Black power," the crowd screamed. "What do you want?" "Black power." "That's right. That's what we want. Black power. We don't have to be ashamed of it. We have stayed here. We have begged the president. We begged the federal government. That's all we've been doing, begging, begging, begging. It's time we stand up and take over. Every courthouse in Mississippi ought to be burned down tomorrow. Get rid of the dirt and the mess. From now on, when they ask you what you want, you know what you tell them. What do you want? Black power." The crowd roared again as Willie Ricks took over, leading yet another round of the chorus. "What do you want?" Ricks cried. "Black power," the crowd shouted. As Carmichael climbed down from the truck, his eyes was gleaming and his dark face was bathed in sweat. On the dusty ball field below, older veterans of a decade of civil rights protests watched the raucous spectacle in uncomfortable silence, unaware that they were witnessing the moment that would change the movement forever. And that's what it did. It did that. That Black Power speech by Stokely Carmichael 60 years ago on June 16th was a game changer. It changed a lot. On that hot night in Greenville, Mississippi, those 2 words had never gained traction as a racial rallying cry. 1954 novelist Richard Wright wrote a book entitled Black Power about his travels through Africa, but its publication came and went without much attention. Then in May of 1966, Congressman Clayton Powell gave a little notice convention address at Howard University in which he urged graduating students to seek black power. He said, "What I call audacious black power, the power to build black institutions of splendid achievement." But when Carmichael included 2 words in early scriptures of political empowerment, he was dismissed by white journalists, accustomed to relying on insights from older, integration-minded black leaders. So we had that, kind of conflict. But it was for the Meredith March. Wouldn't have Stokely Carmichael say what he had to say. But give credit, you gotta look at Willie Ricks. He's the guy that got it started. It was his idea. He told Jim Foreman, "Hey, what about black power? What about that?" But it wasn't for Meredith getting shot. We're having a Black Power. And he chanted. And it definitely would like reverberate around the country, newspapers. The Mississippi wants to chant, we want Black Power. It'd be off the pages of newspapers, New York Daily News, Chicago Tribune, Chicago San Francisco Examiner. The media was eating this stuff up, just reporting on this rallying cry. You know, Newsweek magazine that had it was rivals to Time magazine. Probably understand this covers the civil rights movement, written by Peter Goldman, master wordsmith, whose fascination with the black struggle inspired him to write a book about Malcolm X. Newsweek's story ended with a vivid description of Carmichael's speech and the policies that Carmichael proposed to substitute for the old. Not to be outdone by Newsweek, Time briefly considered putting Carmichael on the magazine's cover. Time art department commissioned a likeness from Jacob Lawrence, the plain black painter known for depicting figures from black life and history in a style that mixed the influence of French Cubism, the hues of Harlem. So after traveling south to meet with Carmichael for a sitting, Lawrence produced an image that drew inspiration from the line drawn of the Lowndes County Black Panther. In Lawrence's portrait, Carmichael's face appeared inked and black, while an uninked panther crawled over his shoulder. The portrait was considered for a Time cover in early July, discarded in favor of a portrait of the Prime Minister of Indonesia. By that point, Time editors had decided to weigh in on the Black Power juggernaut with a more disapproving take, leading their July 1st issue with a story entitled Civil Rights, the New Racism. The new slogan Time scolded represented nothing less than racist philosophy that could mostly perpetuate the very separatism against which Negroes had fought so successfully. So it led to a lot of stuff for Carmichael, man. You end up being on guest appearances on shows like Meet the Press and Face the Nation. He was invited to discuss this Black Power chant that he said in Mississippi on June 16th. So this all led to that, getting all this coverage, because what he said was definitely a groundbreaking thing, and explain why he came with this Black Power stuff. So that reverberated around the whole nation. Everything that was talked about with that, he was on these shows to discuss what this Black Power stuff is about. So it challenged the civil rights movement. It definitely did. So that's all I gotta say about that, as far as that's concerned. It may also, Carmichael, Star Michael, he had that nickname. He came up with that nickname, Star Michael, because he was everywhere. He was on TV, he was getting a lot of press because of what was said in Mississippi. Now, people knew who he was, at the time, but at the same time, when you see him say something about Black Power, that's going to give a lot of press given to him. If you're going to gravitate to that, what was Black Power stuff about? So he wasn't Stokely Carmichael, he was Stokely Star Michael. That was his nickname. This came from Louis Davis. Drew a lot of media attention, earned him a nickname within Snick movie. They recalled it, and she thought it was more appropriate than ever to call him Stokely Star Michael. And that's what he was, Stokely Star Michael. So that's basically it, man. What needs to be said about that. Done enough with this. I'll be back at 2:30. So what I'll say about that. So subscribe to the channel. Be back soon. Talk to you soon.